is green or sustainable. So that is the important thing. So those material who are composed of renewable rather than non-renewable resources, and those material which are environmentally responsible with the minimum possible environmental cost. So means if somewhere we are being using a lot of electricity or transportations or those, so probably those material won't come under the sustainable or green material. So my main focus will be low energy utilization in manufacturing, so that the embodied energy could be minimum as well as its functioning. So and it could be easily recyclable, efficient, durable, and long life. So those things are important. I'm not going to teach about that. That a different sustainability approach has been made, and this is where environmental, social, and economic, all three will get together, and that part will be known as a sustainability part. So if you look into the infrastructure as a whole, so and sustainable goal, so starting from first goal, total that sustainable development goals are 17. So from first to 7 come under towards enhancing access to basic services, and from 11 to 15 where we are being continuously, CSIR CBRIU is working on promotes environmental sustainability. So a lot of we are working on waste utilizations, new system, so that less embodied energies material can be produced. And if you look from 8 to 10 and 16 and 17, those supports inclusive growth towards sustainable development goals. So in these parameters, my talk will proceed. That what are the challenges before to the construction sector? So that is major three challenges. One is conservation of natural resources. So if you look into that, people are not getting good quality sand, good quality coarse aggregate, and also that we are putting a lot of energy to take those materials, also causing a lot of environmental issues if you are curing the sand from the rivers, etc. So we have to look, and rather than research community, engineering fraternity has started working and utilizing alternative building material, construction material. Second is the energy conservation. So all the processes where have a minimum energy consumptions, that processes, and those technology which is energy efficient and material, that is the next issue. Third one is the reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. So as you are aware that about 1 ton of cement productions is producing about 0.75 ton carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So that is a big issue where every committee that people are working how we can reduce the greenhouse gas emissions from cement production. So a lot of work has been carried out different part of the country and the world, and continuously initially that efficiency was very poor at that time. It was being 1 ton of ordinary Portland cement productions is been producing about 1 ton to 1.2 ton of carbon dioxide, but it has continuously reducing, and people are working also on different type of cementitious binder which require less temperature for calcinations and using other sources. So my other colleagues will going to deliver, so I'm not touching, but definitely these are the concern. So our main concern focus should be reduce resource consumptions, reuse of resources, reduce environmental impact of cement productions, greater use of supplementary cementitious material. That is maybe fly ash, maybe silica fume, maybe other calcine clay and other where less energy is involved during their productions or their application. Recycle and reuse of construction and demolitions waste, enhance the surface life of structures. This is a major issue on our country, that we are making good building, building, good bridges, all those things. So, but life of those structures are being decreasing day by day due to, not good quality of concrete or constructions problem, or curing and other different issues, and it start deteriorating in early age, starting from 5 to 6 year, and within 10 to 15 years. So corrosions and other issues has been emerging in a very faster way. So we have to look whatever the materials, whatever the technology we have to adopt, so that the life of structures can be enhanced. So overall the sustainability effects will be there. And also research and use of emerging technologies, as we are aware that nowadays in our country a lot of work has been carrying towards the precast and prefab sector. So but initially if you look into that, everything was in cost in situ, and we are wasting a lot of materials, a lot of energy and other things. Right now, starting from bridges to buildings to highways to runways to pathways, everything is coming towards the precast construction. So that is a good sign, so that we have a efficient system technology for those. Next one is use of renewable energy. If you look in initially, a lot of coals etc is being used in cement productions. Nowadays they are using plastic and other source of energy in calcination or heating purposes. So that is also good sign, and that research is continuously going on, and if anything is coming in a good way, that is being utilized towards the site. And effective control of construction management system, protection of nature, elimination of toxics, applying life cycle cost analysis, and last but not the least, quality. So nowadays people are focusing much towards the quality of constructions and other things. I'm not going to just tell, but overall, if you look into the global energy demand and its consumptions, in particularly in Asia, it is increasing day by day. And that we know a lot of infrastructures and other things is going on. So main focus is that how we can reduce the energy consumptions in those areas. Also, if you look into that carbon emissions in constructions, buildings, transportations and industries, so is all on the rising edge. So we have to reduce all those things in an effective manner. So coming, what we should go, what we should do, these are the challenges. How we can come out with those challenges, that is the important factors. So major amount of carbon dioxide is being generated from calcination of that limestone in the cement clinker production. So that is we have to minimize, and in CBRI we are continuously, our different group are working how we should have those things. Particularly if you look in India, NCCBM, they are working in a great way in this area, and continuously that alternative, what should be the alternative towards that, and that is the important factor, and how we can reduce the greenhouse gas effect or emission of carbon dioxide into the environment, so that environmental balance can be maintained. So those are the important factors. So what will be our course of action? So that definitely that our course of action should be, we should look for a alternative binders, and that my particular group is working. We have tried with the low heat calcination of lime sludge, which is been available from paper industries and other industries. Also my one student, she is going to present tomorrow on composite cement, where we are we are chemically activating steel slag, which is basically a very high crystalline and those material, and it is been only throw as a garbage and not been utilized. So we are working, and other people will come. One my colleague who has been she will going to deliver on the supplementary cementitious material. So that is the aim, how we are going to look for a beyond OPC, ordinary Portland cement, and how we have a energy less consumed cementitious binder. So that was our aim. As we are aware, I have already told that our reserves are very limited. If you look into the limestone, clay, shale, which is being used for OPC clinker productions, and Niti Aayog and all our MOEF and ministries, all those are behind that reduce CO2 emissions and reduce the energy consumption in cement manufacturing. So we have a right technology. We should develop right technology to substitute cement clinker. That is, if I'm talking cement clinker, means we are talking about the ordinary Portland cement clinker with some other potential material for reducing anthropogenic effect of CO2 emissions. So the different work is going on, adding fly ash, adding GGBFS and other thing as a supplementary cementitious material into this one, and coatsware is being fabricated, made, so that people can look into more. So here we'll discuss a little bit, and we'll other type of cementitious binder. I will discuss on geopolymeric cementitious binder, and also a little bit other type of LC3 and other things, which is being basically a major utilization of waste, so that it will be meeting our requirement of sustainability. So that worldwide people are working on different type of binders, and because work is going on, and somewhere in some European countries and also in China, some other cementitious binders were developed, but still, in our mind, where will be the drawbacks, we look, and looking into that, I have tried listed, not listed all, I have listed few of other type of binders, and also what may be the drawback, so that we can look and maximum that. But if we are being having a good quality productions, so that will be minimized. So if we talk about the calcium aluminate cement, basically it is limestone and bauxites, and very limited calcined requirement is there. So energy consumption will reduce, and also that CO2 emissions will reduce by more than 30% into this. But sometimes people has observed that not all, but they have found that there was strength loss by conversion of metastable to stable hydrate. So during reactions, some strength losses they have observed. Also, that work has been carried out on calcium sulfoaluminate cement. Also, it's been very good, but due to some free lime and other things, it has been observed little bit some expensive in nature, and addition poor durability was reported. But we are continuously working to improving, like composite cement, that our Indian standards has already come up in 2015, where we are going with the Portland clinker, and more than 50% utilizing GGBFS and fly ash. So only some issues has been observed, that initial strength development is lesser, but after 56 days it has been with the OPC, and some curing durations will have to be enhanced. Similarly, composite limestone cement, that is been again, main thing is that avoid calcination or heating, making a clinker. So other type of make crushed or grinded limestone, GGBFS, fly ash, and other things to make into that. Utilize more limestone, grinded limestone into the cementitious material. Next one is alkali activated binders, that is known as geopolymer binders. So we have done a lot of work at CBRI, and we are improving the rheology, means its flowability, its its workability and other things. So we have been correcting, and continuously it is being used into the roads, some buildings, some other parts are prefabricated system. Other is a super sulfated cement. So it will be mainly with the GGBFS, gypsum, and about some 60 to 70% of ordinary Portland. So overall aim is to reduce the OPC based clinker. So if you are reducing 30%, you are using only 70% of clinker, then definitely we are reducing 30% of CO2 emissions, and similarly the energy consumption. And nowadays a lot of, in my group also, I'm not showing that results, but carbon negative cement, that is the magnesium silicates. So it is being a lot of no carbon, rather than we have a carbon saving into that, which is being utilized into converting into magnesium carbonate when in a strength component. So other type of also cementitious binders, that is mainly working on belite rich Portland clinkers. So we are modifying to C2S, which is been a belite into that, and reducing in a effective manner. And by this way we are going to at least thermal energy or energy consumptions less than 10%. And also that we have utilizing a high belite content into that. So this is some study people has carried out. I have tried because our work is going on in this area. And overall that if you look into the cement, its specific surface area is little bit higher, and but other things will be the same in all the way. So that is the important. And other is also that belite ilmenite ferrite BYF cement. So these are the cements which is being utilized, and clinker calcinations about 30% lesser, and in this making, and it has the reach of alumina. And by this way our grindability or energy requirement in grinding will get reduced. So these are the different type of materials, and we are different researcher group including CSIR or CBRI is working on other type of material. I have said this is magnesium silicate cement. It has been developed very way back in 1867, but it has been developed basically it is been MgO based clinker, and silicate, magnesium silicate. This is being abundantly available all over the places, and when it's been utilized, a lot of carbon dioxide from atmosphere it captures, and it sequestrations. By that is enhancing the strength. So that is a very advantageous and very good water resistance and relatively high level of sequestration of CO2 in hydrations products. So that is why we have said it is a carbon negative. So a lot of, and other type of materials, so I'm not taking much, but other type of cementitious binders, a different group is working where lesser energy and lesser things is there. So you should not get worried, because still people are fighting, and people are no, you are not using OPC, you are using in place of OPC to PPC, Portland Pozzolana cement. No, that is not anything wrong. If you are using PPC, it has a lot of advantage. If you are using composite cement, a lot of advantage, because that overall durability and other things is improved. And in another manner, you are utilizing your waste material or resource material which is being available from our industry, different industry, and those things can be worked towards that. This is important in all other where I have told somehow we are using calcinations or other processes where some energy is being involved. But recently last 20 years, the people has started working mainly on cement-free binders. So that is one binder is a geopolymer, and it is nothing but activating aluminosilicate and based solid precursors, and that is utilizing by our waste material like fly ash, ground granulated blast furnace slags, and that. And initially it has been invented by David Oates, and who has given the name term as geopolymer, and they have patented all those things. So usually people say this one is alkali activated cementitious binder. So you know that what is the basic difference between Portland cement and geopolymeric binder. So that is if you know in a little bit of chemistry. So if where in cement, Portland cement, synthesis of high calcium oxide mineral, which is being converted into the different main product that is called calcium silicate hydrate, calcium hydroxides, some intermediate and other products. So intermediate other products from their hydration process. In hydrations means if you look into that calcium silicate hydrate, there is a hydrate. So mainly water molecules is attached with this one. So in this process, we required water during this hydration process. Whereas in opposite, in geopolymer, it is nothing with the hydration, or it is nothing with that. It is a polymerization process, but polymerization of inorganic material, mineral containing those minerals which is have a sufficient silica and alumina content, and in this case water is released, or it is coming out during the chemical process. So in this we don't need any water, rather than if you are being hitting it, so strength will be better and more reactions will be, polymerizations reactions will take place. It is being qualified as a green material, and it is been reducing about 80% of less CO2 emission as compared to ordinary Portland cement. And it is directly utilizing main byproduct, that is, if you look into that, fly ash, ground glated blast furnace slag, red mud, and other, which is rich in silica and alumina content. Red mud is also very good. People are working very nicely with the making a geopolymer binders. So it's a very low energy consumptions, durability. In this we have worked very extensively at CBRI, and in chemistry, its utilization in civil engineering field and others where I am going to take. So mainly that activators is involved as a hydroxide and silicate. So usually people generally use a sodium hydroxide and sodium silicate for making. Why those things, and other ingredient to making in a concrete will be same as a coarse and fine aggregate. Some admixture is required to modify their rheological behavior, and those has been used and been good into that. So I'm not, it has a lot of advantage as compared to the conventional concrete system. It is a cement free, its strength is very high, it goes from 30 MPa to 100 MPa, and very less, within 1 or 2 days we can have more than 20 MPa. Shrinkage is a very minimum, low permeability. It's a very good against alkali resistant and sulfate resistant wherever that in a marine structure or in a coastal structure. So low thermal conductivity, and it's excellent into the fire resistant properties. That if concrete start deteriorating after 200 degrees centigrade, but it has been found that it's a very good even up to the 800 degrees centigrade. And last but not the least, here that we don't require any water curing, which is the biggest issue into the cement based concrete or mortar, and where we have to do water curing or moist curing continuously. So we have to use fly ash, and fly ash being used in a different part. So this is being sustainable because continuously utilization. If you look into the way back, in early 90s, it is been considered as a toxic material, but nowadays it is been resource material, and more than 65% of fly ash is being used in different applications, like making of bricks, that mine reclamations, in road construction, particularly in embankment. Mainly, that nowadays it is being as cement, where we are using in making a Portland Pozzolana cement. Other places we are using as that what we say, that performance enhancer by 5%, which is being already given in OPC by the court. So all cement industries, and it's a big boon. And right now good quality fly ash is not being available, rather than pond ash and other things. CBRI has extensively worked on from brick block to cementitious binder to road and embankments, and high volume fly ash concrete. And right nowadays we are working utilizing as a geopolymer concrete. So different, and I have told this is there. So fly ash, brick, embankment, road construction, soil stabilization, precast block, mine filling, and we have done. Also, that activating fly ash, and we have made a road, we have made building blocks, we have made a self-compacting concrete, we have made beams, columns, all those things with the geopolymer concrete, and also elements, building elements, which is planks, joist, and other prefabricated. A little bit, how it work, what is the basic. Basically fly ash has silica content, about more than 35 to 60%, alumina content, and that sodium oxides, and all those things. So we are activating with the sodium hydroxide and sodium silicates, usually very high alkaline in media. And also, from sodium silicate, if there is a lesser silica content, we are utilizing and converting, giving some 60-degree temperature to 80-degree temperature, we are converting geopolymer, which is nothing but a sodium aluminosilicate polymer. But if you have to do with the ambient or normal temperature, you have to add, so that some energy, some temperature should be enhanced. So we are adding as a GGBFS up to 20 to 25%, and which is initially, converting into the calcium alumino silicate polymers, and which generates, because this exothermic reactions generate energy, so that we don't require any heating, etc., during its making binder. So this is a mechanism, that it is dissolutions, dilatations, reorganization, polycondensation. So only that in a dissolutions where we are making sodium hydroxide or sodium silicate with the water, so that it in aqueous form, and it will be added into the our aluminosilicate source, that is fly ash, GGBS, and only water is being added in making those our source activators. And in every reaction, if you look into that, water is been coming out from that reaction. So only that we have to look how those water should be utilized into that. This is different processes. It is important that dissolutions should be carried out with the in a very high alkaline atmosphere, and so that it should have a pH more than 12 or 12, so that it should be converted into the amorphous aluminosilicate gel. Otherwise it will be in a crystalline form, and strength and other things will be lesser as compared to the amorphous material. So that is the important. Here, that it is a very important to address those. We should have a sufficient reactive oxide available in our precursor, means fly ash and GGBFS, so that it can react with our chemical activators, sodium hydroxide and sodium silicate. If it has a lesser reactive oxide, so it has a lesser reactivity into that. So that is there. And morphology you should understand if you are developing this type of binders. So mainly, glassy content should have more than 35%. So making geopolymerizations will be better as compared to that. Usually, if it has a higher, about 55-60, so our geopolymerizations will be more. More into that. So mainly, that our low reactive content will be fly ash has, so it will not be give better geopolymerization processes, and our material will be poor, means our concrete or cementitious binder will be not be good. So that is the important where we should know. All over the world, I will just quickly pass on. And all over the world, people has worked on this. Building has been made, and different types, different library at Melbourne. This is a concrete product, slab, pipes. We have also worked on the pipes, footpath, and other things has been constructed in Australia and India. So that still some challenges will be there. Good quality availability of raw materials. Basically, if there will be changes in raw material or variation in raw material, its property is going to change. So you should have a cautious, and overall, that to the mind of the people, this is going to be a good material, and they should start working. Cost economics, yeah, it is coming about same with the OPC. So if you don't have a much saving, about 10 to 15%, people say, why, if we are well conversed with ordinary Portland cement utilization, why you should go for this type of material? Definitely, but nevertheless, it is a very green material, and it will help not to reduce the energy demand, but this is emissions to carbon dioxide and saving our environment. So that is the important factors why we should use. So at CBRI, we have worked on different parameters. We have developed technology, transfer it, demonstrated the product, patent, all those things, and you can see our research papers are coming. We have made the geopolymer brick, and comparable cost will be the same as compared to the brick of this one, solid block with this geopolymer. So there is no cement free, and we utilizing a waste material into that. And these are the area here, that we are worked on cellular lightweight material, and with the fly ash, because in a cellular material we used the cement previously. If you look into the AC block, aerated autoclaving and other things, so we have done with the geopolymeric material. We have made tetrapods, I have told, that is very good into the marine environment, and these are the tetrapods is energy breaker, so it is being utilized. Also, structural element studies has been carried out and found that similar one. Also, we have made with that a self-compacting concrete with the geopolymeric materials, and not only this, we have demonstrated with that a longer distance production of this geopolymer concrete. So these are the Hume pipes. All those things has to be made with the geopolymer concrete in India. We have done with the precast planks here. I'm not taking quickly showing you because, and we have studied with this one. Overall, if you look into the cumulative energy demand, it will be about 50% if you use in place of this one. So it is the reduction in this one. We have worked a systematic way at CBRI, and we have transferred technology to National Thermal Power Corporations, utilizing into their roads, their paving blocks and other things. And they have demonstrated in different places of countries. So if you look into that, same material has been used, only that in place of cement we are using fly ash, ground granulated blast furnace slag, and alkali activators, that is nothing but sodium silicate and sodium hydroxide. So other properties we have done a mixed proportion. This is sodium silicate, you can see, and in sodium hydroxide we achieve with the flax, and we make it, and we go with the activator. So these are the road mixed proportioning. Here that we can use DLC with the fly ash only, because we don't need very high strength. But if you want to use, you can use a 10% of that GGBFS. And the other, in a PQC we have used 330 kg of fly ash and 110 kg of GGBS. Fine aggregate was 650 kg, coarse aggregate was about 1150 kg, water was 120. Activator to binder ratio was kept 0.42 in PQC. This is road construction, actual preparation of subbase, so clearing of shoulders, granular material, sprinkling of water, finces, and then compactions with the mini things. Then laying of dry lean geopolymer concrete as per MORTH specification. So this is being made. This is the laying. This is has been carried out way back, more than 4 years back in CBRI. And then after that, it's a simple, it's a less, that one has been laid. And then after that, polythene, that separation layer of 125 micron has been placed and fixed with that. Then, because it was first road constructions, we have instrumented with temperature sensor, vibration sensors, and strain sensors. So all those sensors has been put along those roads, and the same way we have constructed a road with the geopolymer concrete, and two we have made with from OPC, ordinary Portland cement based, and that was being made. This is a few photographs of laying processes. This is texturing. We don't have a mechanized machine, etc. So we have done with the hand. This is spraying of evaporator reducer. So that is then transverse joints has been made, and that has been all those backing rod was 12 mm dia was placed, and then filled with the polysulfide based sealant material over the top of 3 to 5 mm in height. So this is the road constructions at CBRI. So we have done at CBRI, after getting those things, we have done further studied, and full-fledged roads has been made. I'm not going much on that, but quickly I will show that studies. Rather than at that time people asked for leaching, we have done a leaching durability study. All those things has been carried out at CBRI, and then we have done in that I have told in initial stage, it has little bit of cohesive. So we have been a bigger side road. We have used vibro rollers to better compaction of dry lean concrete, and by this way where strength got enhanced about 20 to 24 MPa. So it's nothing but it is a roller compacted geopolymer concrete worked into that, and this is the same way we have carried out. This is the road has been made. This is another roads has been made, and in Ramagundam, and it's a bigger road, and we have made a lot of things. You can look into our YouTube, our reports, our research paper has been well, and it has been accredited by IRC also. That very few people are aware that BIS, Bureau of Indian Standard, has come up with the code on geopolymer products. So that is there. Another things, because we have a limited time, and I would like to quickly show upon that. That if I'm talking about sustainable material, so without talking about recycling and reuse of construction and demolitions waste will not be solved. So I will look into that. Frankly, that when I have started working way back in 1997, one professor of Professor R.K. Dheer of University of Dundee visited. At that time I was at SCRC Ghaziabad, and he said, "You work on this area, it will be future, and in UK we are working and improving the properties, etc." So at that time I started work and published one paper in 98 and in one conference, and but I could not get, because strength reductions was about 15 to 20%, and I thought, "Okay, how people are going to use?" But at that time you don't have a processing system. Nowadays, we have installed a very small crusher into lab, and that is not. But nowadays, very good quality crusher has come up. That is impact and cone crusher combinations, and by which is removing the adhered mortar, that mortar which is being stick with the coarse aggregate at that time of crushing. So that is a major issue. So removing those, so we can get a good quality coarse aggregate as well as a good quality fine aggregate with the recycled fine. uh, Different all over the world, in Japan they have worked on different processing, rather than from autoclaving to microwaving to crushing to chemically treating, and different type of methodology they have adopted, and that was being carried out to remove the adhered mortar from this one. If you can see here, I don't know it is visible here, this is actual that schematic diagram for the coarse aggregate, and this is the mortar. If you crush recycled concrete, so you'll find like this way. So this blue area, it's only schematic, not actual. This blue area is a problematic area, so try to remove. Or this yellow line has been given, it is old interfacial transition zone. We have to improve those one, and this is a new one which is shown in a dark brown color. So that if you are using into the concrete, so cement paste will be tried to, so you have to improve and you can get good concrete, and that has been already added into the code 383 2016. And recently we have a meeting, we tried to utilize other type of coarse aggregate in a large quantity, looking into the sustainability of the constructions. So this is the how it's look into that. If you look into the same view, and this is somewhat those area will be porous as compared to that natural coarse aggregate. And if that sand, if you compare the sand, these recycled fine sand is being a little bit of flaky and have some part of adhered portion. So only to remove those part and technology, and continuously we have worked, we have developed a concrete block and different type of building elements. Not only this, we have done on utilizing the that recycled sand, recycled fine aggregate, making into the as a natural sand in place of natural sand. And we have carried out extensive research at CBRI by my one PhD student, Dr. S.K. Kritika. So she has done, and we have found that it can be utilized into that. We have compared the result with the Yamuna River sand and other sands, and we found that it has worked very efficiently. And if you are replacing the natural sand by 30%, there is no problem. By natural way how you are working, you can go ahead with this one. So these are the some views, I don't know. So these are the area. So Also, in my division, particularly on polymer plastics, we have worked on making rice husk into the, in a wood. This is known as wood without tree. So we have made a pellet and different type of this technology has already been transferred and utilizing. Similarly, that CSIR CBRI has worked on stone waste. It is from Kota stone, marble stone, and different. It is used in a different fashions. It has been used as a fine aggregate. It has been used as a cementitious material replacement. It has been used as a that performance enhancer into the cement, and different study has been carried out, and had been made different type of products utilizing, and those technology has been transferred with the different industries. In CBRI, my group has started working on LC3 limestone calcined clay cement, and that all over the world people are working in IIT Delhi, Bisnoi, in Manu Santanam and other in IIT Chennai. People are working on this. This is one day. It is what we can say low energy cementitious binder, and that will work on this one. I'm not taking much on this because my research scholar is going to tell how that slag we are utilizing as a coarse aggregate, as a fine aggregate, and as a cementitious binder. So if you look into that, that in India, a lot of quantity, every year about 16 million tons of slag is being produced, and as target by 2031, government has targeting to make this our steel productions is more than 300 million tons, and so that will be huge quantity of slag, and we are working with the Ministry of Steel in a big way. So different and fine aggregate and cementitious binder. So she is going, and our research paper has also 3 research paper has come up on this type of activities. This is a different, mainly if you look into that LD slag, why it is not being used as a replacement like ground granulated blast furnace slag, because high level of crystalline material, and it has a crystalline material about more than 55 to 60%. Sometimes it is coming 58%, 62%. So it is it has been a binding phases, but it could not be used. Similarly, electric arc furnace slags. So those are, and ladle furnace slag. So all we are working on different type of steel slag at CSIR CBRI, and we have already, that project has been awarded to us by Ministry of Steel, and also we have a project with the JSW Steels, and recently we are talking with the Tata, and definitely will get, and we have activated by different way hydrothermal treatment, sizing, chemical activation, and then converting into that. We have into laboratory, we have able to activate chemically up to 30% of this steel slag, making cementitious binder. So here our aim is that it is not being used, and by activating we are utilizing as a cement binder. So it will be big thing for the industries. And similarly, we are working with the paper industries, converting lime sludge into cementitious binder, using it, activating and making a brick blocks and other things. Right now we have made putty, low cost putty with those limes sludge. Similarly, we have worked on Kota stone. I'm not taking. So we have demonstrated those technologies, and this one. In these words, I am concluding my presentations, so that you should have a good lunch. So sustainable construction is hour of the need, utilizing green materials or sustainable materials. And I'm been in several Bureau of Indian Standard Committee. We are always looking. Recently, we worked very exhaustively how we can use as a steel slag as a fine aggregate, steel slag as a coarse aggregate, steel slag in cementitious binder. So all those things we are working, and definitely will able to do this one. That I finished my presentation with the Oliver Holmes this quote: "100 years after we are gone and forgotten, those who never heard of us will be living with the results of our actions." So try to utilize waste material, try to utilize green material, try to utilize you know other materials, renewable sources and other materials into your constructions. Thank you very much.